Everybody in this league presents a different set of problems for us. You know, it's the nature of the beast. They don't have a pure center. Perry is very active, very mobile, very aggressive. They can get 5 away from the basket, which has been a little bit of a problem for us. And, you know, Hill is 6'6", played the 4, has played some 5. And he plays away from the basket a lot. And so it's not like they're going to have just guys posting up down in there. We're going to have to move around and defensively make some adjustments to try to handle that kind of stuff.
Just test someone like David Kravish.
A little bit. Yeah, it sure does. I mean, Perry's fast and mobile and very active and not going to be in one place. He's going to be cutting and screening and moving and all that kind of stuff. So David's going to have to use his length. And really it affects Robert a little bit because it's not like you put Robert in with the idea of muscling up with somebody either. So, yeah, it tests you a little bit just based on I mean, I'm not sure that's the way they'd prefer to play. You know, I'm sure they'd probably like to play with Williams from last year in there, a big, but it's what they've got, and so they've made that adjustment.
Conversely, Kravish leads your team in blocks, and he's usually pretty good in positioning himself for blocks. And he's,
hasn't been as
height on those two guys. So is that
could I mean that's what he has to do. He has to look at it that way, and they're going to try to create contact by coming into him, and he's got to use his length. I think sometimes lately he's been a little bit reluctant. I think he's been just kind of like, where do I need to be? What am I supposed to be doing? Because everything's coming at him so fast. But you're right. I mean, that's one of the things he has to rely on is just staying down and using his length and make him have to shoot over the top of him.
Got off his feet for one of the first times we've ever seen last week on Sunday, huh?
He got off his feet?
I mean, he went for the head fake against Stanford at one time. I don't think I'd seen that happen.
Yeah, he generally doesn't do that, you know, but he's probably excited, too, with the crowd and everything.
Their guards, a couple of them are freshmen. They play well at times.
They're freshmen.
Really consistent, yeah.
You said it. They're freshmen. You know, very, very talented. You won't find a better athlete around the country than Nick Johnson. He can really, really jump. He'll dunk tips. They'll throw lobs to him. He can shoot the 3, put it down. And Josiah is very good at point of attack. I felt like watching him that he can kind of get where he wants to get with the ball, and he's capable of doing that. So, and then they've got Jordan Mays, who's not shooting the ball well, I think, because a little bit probably because his time has been diminished, and so he doesn't, not maybe in a rhythm or a flow. Lavender, you'd have to kind of consider a little bit of a guard or Fogg. I don't know. They're not very big, probably 3 men. Fogg at 6'3" has been the off guard, and he's now the 3 guy. So, yeah, they've had. I'm sure they've had their anxious moments with the freshman guards, like any of us would. You're having a freshman play point and having your 2 guards be starting freshmen is an adjustment.
Is that where your experience can be your edge?
Well,
Sophomores,
you know, hopefully we'll get an edge somewhere. I'm not sure where it's going to come. It varies from game to game. You know, I think Harper's capable of guarding most anybody in their lineup. I don't think he'll have a problem adjusting to whatever. David might, but it's you know, Arizona's lost probably three of their 4 conference losses have been by very minimal margin, with a bucket at the end going another way would have won. So they're very capable.
Do you think if you were to go 7-2 in the second half of the conference schedule, that would be enough to get the regular season title? If you
I don't even. I mean, I don't. I mean, you're going to have to answer that on your own. 14-4. What do you think?
Pretty good.
No.
Mike, have you seen anything in Christian Behrens in practice recently that led you to believe that he would be able to come in and help you?
Well, we were going to, at one point we said, Christian, let's see how it goes with the knee and where we are relative to whether we redshirt. You know, we talked about redshirting. You know, and I'm not sure what he made of that. And then we had another discussion. We said, look, Christian, let's let's just go for it. Let's, you know, if there's time there for you, we'll use you. If there's not, we won't. But let's go as if we're going to use you and not worry about 5 years from now. And he was good. And his aggression improved. He got more active, you know, as if, okay, it wasn't a lost cause. He's going to be able to maybe get some minutes. And he started competing harder in practice. And that's been good. He's got the ability to do some things. They're a little unorthodox. They're different. He gets to the ball. He can get to the ball.
He's not like really anybody else you had in some ways, right, athletically? As far as being long and fairly quick.
Well, he has a nose for the ball. The ball goes up. He can get to the ball. He's pretty quick off his feet. We noticed that in Europe when we finally, toward the end of the tour, we started using him a little bit. We got kids injured, and it was kind of uncanny how he and Krabish could just get to the ball. They just had a knack of getting to the ball. We kept looking and saying, wow, he just, you know, he's always around the ball. He knows where it's going, and he did a good job that way. He's still got the issue of not really knowing offensively what exactly we're doing, not being in the right spots all the time. But, you know, we're looking for guys that can help us any way we can get it. And if he can just be active, then, you know, we're not running as much set as we did. People are scouting us and taking us out of things with athletes, and so we're doing a little more movement, and he can thrive in that.
Was that pretty encouraging performance, though, to see what he was able to do? Just a couple minutes?
Well, I mean, just the fact that he was able to make a basketball move in a game like that early and was encouraging. A lot of kids, I mean, sometimes you'd see kids and they'd stumble and fall just because they're nervous, and he made the play, and you know, he hung in defensively, took a charge, and that's one thing he has done in practice consistently. He's taken charges.
How is his knee
now? It's not 100%. I mean, it's not strong enough. Coming off the surgery, it's not as strong as it needs to be, but I think he's now tested it in practice and enough to know that it'll hold. I mean, obviously, if he catches it wrong, he could get himself in trouble.
And he had tweaked it at some point, right?
He did early on.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's a little bit of a setback for a while.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, just to think that it could happen that easily again, really shook him up.
Does he have sort of surprising ball handling skills, or he looked capable when he was driving the ball?
Well, I don't know that one 60-foot dribble is going to quite quantify that, but he's not a big per se. He's not probably a perimeter guy, but he's not a big that can't put it on the floor a little bit. So there's still some work to do there, but he can do some things from the perimeter that might look you to say, you know, might be able to use him in different spots.
So you would expect he might start playing a bit more than get him into the flow?
I don't have any preconceived notions one way or the other.
Mike, what is it that Arizona does defensively that's allowed them to go on the road and hold opponents to 39% shooting in this conference?
They're athletic. I mean, they deny the ball to people. They're very sound defensively. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're athletic enough to stay in front of you. They're quick enough and fast enough and athletic enough to recover and not give up any inside players. They do a good job of closing on the shooter. They don't concede much. They're not going to just let you shoot the ball. They'll close on the shooter consistently. They'll drive you off the three-point line, make you put it down. Some people don't like that.
So will you guys be wearing pink shoes the rest of the season?
No.
That was a one-day deal?
There's something else going on this week. I don't think it's the same. The Sunday deal was coaches versus cancer. The third, I don't know, it's Saturday, Sunday, I think, or maybe it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. That weekend was the National Association of Basketball Coaches versus cancer deal. So you saw that across the board. There are some others. Somebody brought up there was a breast cancer awareness deal going on, but I don't know that hooks into that particular idea.
And the big Gold Out campaign, that's probably your brainstorm?
No, that's promotions. I mean, they're just trying to do something that you know, put people in seats and have a theme, and it's a good idea. You know, Crumpacker has volunteered to come with gold body paint on, which I think is.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think it'll enhance the whole experience for everybody.
Surely Massey will be singing the theme song.
In conference play this year, the home team's winning about 72% of the time, which would be a record pace. Any thoughts on why the home advantage is a little more?
Well, I think people understand the importance of it, for one, but not that that's any different. But I just don't think there's any vastly superior teams that are able to go on the road and dominate. I just think people know they have to win at home, and so it's difficult to win on the road, and it always has been. But I just think that the home teams understand they've got to win at home, and nobody's so good that they're just able to go out and roll over people.
You were pretty happy with that crowd on Sunday night.
Well, there was some people there, yeah. I mean, it was great. It was the first time this year that you walked in and there was a buzz, and that's kind of the way it should be.
With the emergence of Justin Cobbs, you've had Brandon Smith get reduced minutes and kind of coming off the bench now. How do you feel like he's adjusted to that role?
Well, I think he expected it. I don't think that he's adjusted to it. I think he was probably curious why he wasn't playing early, but I felt like he had to earn it. And he does things differently than Brandon. Brandon needs to help us. Brandon has the ability to make players better and probably a little more of a pass-first guy, and we need that. Because that's an element we can put Brandon in and maybe have him find the shooters and get the ball to people who are having a good game. But I mean, I think Justin thrives that way. He can be really good at times, and when he is good. And we just got to get his consistency up to where he plays that way all the time.
Is Harper getting in a bit of a groove these days now? Seems like
Well, we've moved him away from the basket a little bit more. You know, he was shooting the ball really well last week, and he decided to kind of rest his body rather than go in and do extra work, and I think that might have helped him a little bit. You know, he's the best judge of what he needs to do with his knee, but you know, and his tendency would be to do extra work, and I think he probably's thinking I probably need to rest here. And
that was
get,
his idea, though? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said I'm just going to rest.
He's a guy you can trust to.
He knows his knee better than anybody. You can't tell him what's going to be the best thing for it. He puts a lot of time in on it.
Jorge getting 12 rebounds the other night. Is that something you can expect him to focus on?
Well, he's a very good rebounder from the guard. He always has been. He goes to get the ball, and with Stanford's big guys who are really good and quick and strong and so forth, our bigs had their hands full. So he went in and cleaned the ball up pretty well. Something we really needed because our bigs weren't going to be able to get to the ball.
Besides Jorge's rebounds, you know, Alan Crabb, I think, is the active rebound leader on the team with Richard gone. Is that something you stress in practice, the guards going in there?
We always stress that because we don't have a dominant big man rebounders. And the guards we've talked about, I think we challenged our guards, I don't know, maybe it was at Oregon, that they had to get X amount of rebounds, 24 rebounds, and they exceeded what we asked them to get. Now, we included Crabb in that group, and he ended up with 11 or 12, so it skewed it a little bit. But, yeah, our guards have to rebound.
Mike, do you look at your Saturday opponent during the week at all? I mean,
Yesterday.
Yeah. What's your impressions of ASU? They've been through some rough stuff, obviously.
Well, I think they're playing. I think they're playing much better now. I think that they had distractions, and I think the distractions threw them off. And it's really hard for young kids to deal with stuff. And they had a couple kids that were distractions, and they eliminated them. And I think they're playing together. I think they're enjoying themselves. I think they're playing hard. And they've got some talent. They got two big 7-footers that are good players. And, you know, with Felix and they got two shooters, Lock it back. They're pretty good.
I'm expecting him to be back.
He's missed 2 weeks because of a sprained ankle. I wouldn't think it would go much longer than that. So.